Every single one of us has a measure inside of us that we're unaware of, to the degree that we actually love ourselves and to the degree that we actually brutally hate ourselves.
When you love yourself, you live as the person God designed. And only from that place can you love others cleanly, powerfully, and fully.
I have a repeat guest on today. His name is Matt Berthot. Small town native from the Midwest, discovered his love for music and performance at a very early age. Began his professional journey as a public school choir teacher, where he used the transformative power of music to instill confidence, connection, and creativity in his students.
I love helping people. I love doing these Zoom calls and helping my clients. The voice is the most powerful, most incredible instrument of the entire universe. So everything that comes out of my mouth is a vibration of energy that cannot be destroyed. It only is recycled, and it's in the universe forever.
You and I would not love the service and the acts of love if we were not filled up and loved ourselves. Without any further ado, you will be changed by this podcast. Get a notebook, write shit down, not if you're driving. Hey guys, how are you today? It is Alison from Alison Answers and Lager Counseling Services. I have a repeat guest on today. His name is Matt Berthot. I fondly and warmly call him Berthot. He is one of my very dearest friends. I really feel connected and close to him. He's just an amazing person with so much a wealth of information and value that can help you to change your life. I am formally going to read his bio, but I wanted to introduce him in this way because that is what he's really going to do for you. Are you ready? Look at this. I can't get my glasses on. Okay. Matt Berthot, a small town native from the Midwest, discovered his love for music and performance at a very early age. A proud father of two amazing boys, Max and Leo, Matt began his professional journey as a public school choir teacher, where he used the transformative power of music to instill confidence, connection, and creativity in his students. His commitment to helping others unlock their potential eventually led him to expand his classroom to the world. Today, Matt is a dynamic voice coach, speaker, MC, and performer dedicated to helping people find, keep, share, and connect with their authentic voice. Through his signature coaching system, Voice by Matt, guides individuals and groups to master their craft, voice technique, artistry, storytelling, and performance magic, eliciting emotions and creating unforgettable moments. His unique ability to combine these elements inspires others to let their soul come out and say hello to the world. Matt's passion for the voice and its energy is evident in his podcast, Voice by Matt, as well as his workshops, speaking engagements, and events like Unmute, immersive adventures for business professionals focused on self-expression and communication. He has introduced high-profile figures such as Ed Milet, James Lawrence, the Iron Cowboy, and Jen Gottlieb, showcasing his talent for creating meaningful connections with audiences. What I would like to say about Matt, and as we move forward, what you can expect in our time together is to hear about actually how to find your actual voice. I remember for years and years, a majority of time when I was very young, I used a voice like this, like kind of like not in my natural register. I don't even think I can do it anymore. And it wasn't authentic. And I would notice when people would talk to me, I started to notice because you can feel it when people are communicating, but they're not actual, you can hear that it's not real. Doesn't mean that they aren't genuine people, but you can hear that they're not speaking in their authentic, natural voice. They may not even know they're not doing it. But I have noticed when I hear people speak like, oh, I just wanted to tell you this wonderful thing. And it's something about possibly their level of security or being self-conscious or their sense of worth. But if you can pull out of this time together, notice what is your authentic voice. understand the power of sound waves and how when we use our voice in any communication, anytime we speak about ourselves, how much this influences our life and the outcomes of our life. Matt and I are going to have an honest and open conversation in regard to how to get out of places where you really feel stuck. The reason that we're doing this also is because of a reel that I published that has gone pretty viral. It's about 700,000 views at this point, but it's not about how many views. It's about the comments that keep every day coming up on that reel that have me very on point, and I feel an obligation to address that people on there are talking about losing hope. They're talking about wanting to die by suicide. They're talking about that no one loves them. They're talking about, and I can hear that their thoughts and what's going on in their mind is tragically communicating to them that they are not worthy, that no one loves them, that there's no value for them on this earth. And I do know how that type of inner world thinking can, over time, just take on a life of its own and convince a person not to live anymore, whether they don't live anymore by just being down the rest of their life and just make none of the moves towards their purpose, or they actually die by suicide. I have watched this happen in my personal life, and in my personal life, it was a very, very quick time. It happened to my husband, but it was such a short period of time that his mind was really like almost like playing tricks on him and just very negative about himself. And this kind of thing can become like a storm. So as many people as we can reach to tell them, and if I can tell you directly, I want you to know directly that you matter, that any of those voices in your head that say that you don't are not true. Any of the voices in your head that describe that there's nothing for you on this earth is not true. What is evidenced by you being here on this earth is that because you're here, there's a reason to exist. You have a purpose. You're meant for greatness. And I know it may feel very far from you at this time, like that's not even possible, but I am certain. I know that. I've been in the field of mental health the majority of my adult life, over 30 years, and I've had my own high level of struggles. And I've had times where I felt that the only solution was to die. But really, what people need is to understand that, do you want your pain to end or do you want your body to end? And very often we don't understand that there is a difference, that there are ways to make our pain end without our body ending. And there are ways in just a flash of a moment, before, without even knowing it, one little introduction, one little shift in what's happening around you can change your entire life because it becomes a snowball. But the priority in this podcast for me and in all of them is to convince as many people as possible to take control of their own mind and be the master of their fate, be the architect of their life, to understand your internal power that you're unaware of right now. Because I know that's true. I know that most people, the majority of the world, is not aware of the power that they have within them in their voice, internal voice, external voice. They're also not aware of their power to transform, that thoughts create. Thoughts are our first creation. And without those thoughts, like if we change the thoughts, every time we change a thought, we change the landscape of our brain. And our brain is a goal-driven machine. So our brain will put us and help us to see things and identify things that then will lead us on a path. But if the path that you are assuming and telling yourself and communicating outward, if that path says you are unworthy or you do not belong here, or this is the solution for your family, because that happens to people. People actually believe sometimes when they die that they're actually doing people a favor. And that is the biggest lie straight from the pit of hell. The truth is that all of us have value. You just haven't found it yet. So, what I want to cry out to all of you is to stop and understand that we actually, as human beings, have the power to transform our own lives, and our lives are not dependent upon what every Tom, Dick, and Harry around us and all the people, Sally, Susan, and Peggy, that what they think of us, how they talk to us, and all of that. None of that, none of that should be the dictating factor of your beautiful life. That you have the power to be the wise observer of your life and create the life you want. Without any further ado, I am going to bring on Matthew Berthot.
Ready.
Hey, guys, how are you today? As I mentioned previously, that Matt Berthot, fondly referred to as Berthot, is my dear friend. The reason that I asked him to come on today is
Mm.
because of his expertise and his heart of incredible wisdom and love, and his ability to take a person through the continuum of self-love. Let me go backwards. His continuum of self-loathing to self-love. Every
Mm.
single one of us has a measure inside of us that we're unaware of, to the degree that we actually love ourselves and to the degree that we actually brutally hate ourselves. In my
Mm.
experience at Lager Counseling Services, every single day we hear words that people say, and they don't even realize how much they actually hate themselves. And they can think they love themselves because they take a bubble bath, but
Oh.
they don't know that inner voice inside of them that does not really like, love, and
Mm.
ultimately kind of border on hate themselves, and they bully the shit out of themselves. So Matt is going to, by the end of this podcast, you will be very clear on where you're at. When you understand where you're at, please, that is awareness is the key, and it's the first step to all action and life change. We can't unsee it. So when you see something on this podcast, this is not an invitation to hurt yourself, to say I'm unworthy. It's an invitation to say, oh, there's possibility toward just moving incrementally a little bit to the next level of love. It could just be like, it could just be, I'm not abusing you today.
Mm.
So, without any further ado, you will be changed by this podcast. Get a notebook, write shit down, not if you're driving. And here he is, my dear friend, Matt Bertho. Hey,
Thank you,
Matt.
Allison. Hello. How
Hello.
are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Well,
Tell us, Matthew. I gave the bio, in the introduction, and one of the things I said was how you help people find their authentic voice.
wow.
And I shared about,
Goosebumps.
yes, sound waves, that our inner voice and our external voice that's making waves out
Hmm.
there, that once we find that register of truth,
Hmm.
that life changes and we have the power to command. So
Yep.
can you speak on that?
Yeah. Um, so I've been doing a lot of work understanding the Joe Dispenza phrase, energy is frequency, frequency carries information, which Allison knows very well. She's been to multiple retreats. And honestly, that was one of the biggest reasons why Allison and I connected so well, is because I've still never been to a retreat. But when I read the book, I'm a teacher. And so I took the information and it was made aware to me that I was right, because I practice this with my students and clients every day. Um, Energy is frequency, frequency carries information. Energy, emotion is an energy. And so what Allison and I were talking about before we got on the call is, I said, "Oh, she's glowing today. She's like a little glowworm of light today." And she said, "Well, that's funny, Matt, because I would literally tell myself I am glowing, I am radiant." And I was like, "Well, of course you do. That's what we do." And I say we because on my runs every single day, when I wake up in the morning, I am wholeness, I am love, I am joy, I am bliss, I am excitement. And I have to say those things out loud to myself. I can't just think them. When you say them out loud, the energy is transformed that is all around us into something that's new, a new creation of the world that is forever there for eternity. So everything that comes out of my mouth is a vibration of energy that cannot be destroyed. It only is recycled and it's in the universe forever. And so what you say outside of your mouth is essentially felt, heard, seen, and it's forever. And so when we say things outside of ourselves with our voice, because the voice is the most powerful, most incredible instrument of the entire universe, our body is just the housing of our voice. And our body is also the housing of our soul. And our soul speaks to our spirit. And I want to break that down because this work, I've been doing deep, deep work for the last year on this subject. And I finally got clarity about that yesterday too, which this is amazing. But I'll go into that in a second. But did I answer your question
Yes.
so far? Okay.
Yes. Well, and I can't wait for you to get into that. I didn't want to interrupt you, but
No, you're good.
to piggyback on what you were just saying, what I do when I'm working out, it made me think because I know that you when you run, you do that.
Yep.
What I do is when I'm working out, and it's weird because I want to say it out loud. I don't want to say it in my mind. I go through the entire alphabet. And that's what I do through the
That's so
workout. I go,
awesome.
and after every letter, I go, I am Allison. And I'll
Oh.
like, if I'm like next to people, I'll go, I am Allison. Like I just say it quietly, there's music on, whatever. I am Allison. I am an athlete. I am Allison. I am abundant. And then
Mm.
I'll say three things. And I'll go, I am Allison. I am beautiful, bountiful, and blessed. I am Allison. I am composed, confident, certain, and clear. I am Allison. I am disciplined,
Oh
decisive,
man.
and driven
I
and deliberate.
love
And I
that,
go through
Allison.
each one. I am Allison. I am electromagnetic. I am efficient, and I am an executor. I am Allison. I am feminine. I am freedom. I am financially free. I'm Allison. And then I go into M. I am magnetic. I'm a miracle magnet. I am a money maker. I'm a money manager. I'm a money multiplier. I am Allison. I am a miracle magnet. I'm a miracle maker. Everything I touch turns to gold. I'm a manifester. I change
Mm.
lives. I'm a change agent. And I go through it. I'm poised, punctual, and proficient, profitable. But what I'll do is anything that I feel like I'm not, I find a word. So if I feel like I'm being like disorganized or whatever it is, or not poised, or because I'm from New York and I can be rough and say really dumb things. So I'll be like, I am poised, or I'll say,
Mm.
I am dignified. So I counter any of that unconscious, like knowing about myself that's hurting me. That's,
You said counter.
yes.
So I want you for a moment because everybody that's listening to this deals with this, and I've been working on this for a while. Um, if one of the what what I've learned to be a core identity, I am magnetic, or I am love, or I am abundant. So what's the counter that you are fighting, Allison?
You mean like what would be the thing in just regard to abundance or just any of
Any
those?
any of the things that you said, there's
Oh,
something,
I'll tell
you
you.
know, okay, go.
I'm my mother was late everywhere we went. My mother was disorganized. My mother was messy. I had the dirtiest house on the block. I lived in shame. So
Mm.
in my adult life, I went onward throughout my whole life, being 10 minutes late, stressed everywhere I went. And my introduction to every human being when I walked in the door is, Hi, I'm sorry. So
Oh,
now, which magnified my shame, I'm always wrong. I'm sorry, I'm late. I'm sorry. So
Okay.
then I was like, I am punctual. I am
So
dignified. Yes.
so she identified something very important to have, like she said at the beginning, awareness of.
Hmm.
Okay. She is goosebumps all over my body. She is aware of the shame that could potentially happen, right? So
Very.
she has identified that. She's said it. She's uncovered the veil and put it into light. We know it exists. So instead of shame, Allison chooses to say, I am what?
Oh, I am dignified. I
I'm
am
dignified,
love. I
love,
am, I am,
right.
all the things like I am the things that
So
cause me shame.
so let's talk about, because from my experience in the work that I've done for 21 years and Allison's experience as an incredible therapist and one of the best therapy organizations in the freaking world, what we both know to be true, shame at an energetic, emotional level is one of the lowest on the triangle. It's
Yes.
way down here. It's at the very bottom. And so the frequency of energy of shame, you're not going to feel great. You're not going to be putting very many amazing things into the world. And a lot of things are not going to be going real well for you. All right. So you flip it. You recognize, hey, I feel that. I see it. I recognize it. It's there. But I'm love. And love is up here.
Yeah.
Love is up here.
Yes.
I am love. And on Dispenza's chart, if you look in his book in Becoming Supernatural, he's got this triangle. He shows you one triangle at the beginning with love at the top and joy. And then in the middle of the book, he has wholeness, holy,
Yes.
whole. I am wholeness, I am love, I am joy, I am bliss. There's a reason why I say those four every single day in everything that I do. Because I'm like, well, if those are the most powerful energies to say out loud, to feel, those are the ones I want to feel.
Yes.
So I say that as somebody that's had to stumble upon these things and lived it. Allison is an expert in her field that is credited, that has all of the book knowledge, all of the neuroscience, but more importantly, she is also going to these retreats to find out about energy, about God's actual power in the world. And so I think that that's what makes Allison so amazing,
Oh,
is that she is not afraid to dive into the magic,
thank
because
you.
the books can tell us so much. And my mom's a therapist also. And I know that the work that Allison gets to do every single day, I know that the work that she is encouraging her therapist to do with her, she is telling them about this amazing revelation of energy, and where shame and anger and guilt and all of those live in
Yes.
frequency. They're
Yes.
very low frequencies.
Yes.
There's a, I got one more thing to add.
Say it. Go. Go.
There's a book out there called Levels of Energy. And in that book, it talks about like Jesus was 1,000. All the prophets were like 1,000. Okay. And then the majority of the public in the world lives between 100 and 200. And so, what are those people feeling in 100 and 200? Shame, worry,
Yes.
guilt, sad, anger,
Hate.
hate. And so, why would we continue to abuse ourselves? Because I will come clean with one of mine that I've had to work on, is I am abuse to
Mm.
myself. And it's something that my dad did. It's something that his dad did. And that's my counterfeit identity.
Mm. Yes.
My core identity, I am love. And I have a whole lesson to teach today on that.
I have a question for you. Two things. One is that when you said I am abuse, and just to say, that anything after I am, I'm just telling the listeners, anything after I am is our what identifies us. It is the most powerful two words that we can use, and to be very, very aware of how you use those words. So, but when you said those words about abuse, right? Are you talking about that inside of you, you see yourself as an abuser, like, or that you are abused, or like,
I am I am negatively talking to myself
oh, in that
constantly.
way. Yeah. I
Yep.
just wanted to understand if you were
So
abusing yourself
like
or, yeah, or if you saw
Matt,
yourself.
you're fat. You're not good
Oh,
enough. You suck. You're imposter. How dare you think you are able to sit at the table with these people?
yes.
How dare you get to spend time with these people? How are you able to coach these people and teach these people? And all of that is
Yes.
nonsense and lies.
Yes. I have to say something. Okay.
Yeah,
So this thing that you're I get excited. We need 4 hours. We
I
don't
know.
have that. Okay. Matt's
We could do a whole
too popular
series.
of a man, so we got to get on to
We
this.
could do
But
a whole
here we go.
series.
Yes. Yes, we should.
Hmm.
So, Matt, when you're saying those things, right? I believe on the people who are those words, those I ams become almost like a toxicity in our
Yep.
brain.
Yep.
And they have the, and they actually create it. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
It's comfortable. It's what you heard your parents say. It's what you heard your grandparents say. It's safe. It's normal, and
Yes.
it's not. It's horrible.
And the thing here, and I'm curious about this, I believe that truth is a pathway to all freedom, and that nothing changes until it becomes what it is. So when I was saying about shame, one of the
Mm.
things that will happen is that I will hear things like, "Oh my gosh, look what you did," or just, "Oh, you can't really, you have this huge vision. How are you ever going to do that? You're not like other people." All these
Yep.
things telling me these negative
Yep.
things, but I'm not recognizing in those moments when those voices are coming in that the place possibly that it's coming from is shame. So when I can say, wait a second, you know, what is this? Instead of it being like the abuser, because I think we all have that abuser
It's a
there.
bully.
It's a bully. And every time we create a new thought that we repeat and we begin to believe, those neuro connections either break, they may stay as a
Mm.
pattern, but they become obsolete. So then
Mm.
these other this becomes our new program. And I say this quote all the time, and then you're just going to go and teach us. This quote, I stumbled upon it, and it's with Alvin Toffler, who you probably know it, that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write. It
Mm.
is those who cannot learn, unlearn, and learn again. I tie that
Mm.
into the scripture. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Now, we take this, Christians take this as, oh, just don't listen to pagan worship and don't be a part of the world. But really, it's the world you're born into that is programming you. Do not be conformed to this world. The illiterate of the 21st century will be those who cannot learn. This is what we learned in our family of origin. Unlearn, be transformed, and learn again by the renewing of your mind. So if you
Wow.
take those things and you put them together and you understand that we have power far greater than we could ever understand, there's people all over this one reel I have that are talking about wanting to die today. And
Mm.
what that means is that they do not know their power, their worth, their self love.
Yep.
Now,
Thank
Matt.
you. So yeah, um, a couple of my well, I have a client. I'm not going to say her name,
Mhm,
obviously. Um, but she's young. She's a teenager. I'll say that.
mhm.
And she had some self-harm stuff happen. And it was one I've never actually dealt with before in my 21 years of working with kids.
Right.
Um, and her parents were alarmed. And to me, it was like, okay, like she needs attention. She needs somebody to show her some love. She needs to love herself. She got a therapist immediately, and then we had a conversation. And with my clients that I get to teach every day, I teach leaders and speakers and entrepreneurs and business leaders how to speak so that their soul and spirit can come together to say hello with their body. And that's the truth. That's what I do. Um, and I run through a series of categories: mental intelligence, physical, physique, nutrition, health, fitness, sleep, and emotional. How do they handle stress, anxiety, depression? How do they show love, kindness, and generosity? Their abundance mindset, creativity, and they rate themselves on all these categories. One is least, like I'm horrible at this, and 10 is I'm killing this, I'm rocking this, right? And I was talking to this amazing young woman, and knowing what she did, and I looked over at this book I was reading that my good friend Josh told me to start reading. And I met him at a yoga retreat in Mexico, and he was going through an S storm. He was going through it, and he told me to read the book "Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It." And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna check this out. And so the book's great. The best part of the book is the last half, because when Allison or me or anybody tells you to journal, that book is why you journal. It's so raw, and it's so real, and it's so beautiful.
Could you
Um,
explain that? Tell
yes.
us, what does it tell us, and tell us what you mean.
So let's say he would just go through a day, and he would say, like, him and his girl break up, and he talks about standing over at the window and watching the leaves go down, and he knows that his friend let him borrow a gun, and he's thinking about the gun, and he just can't put himself to it. So he's going to go put his shoes on, and he goes outside for a run.
Hmm.
And they're just little snippets like that throughout the whole last half of the book. But it really gives us a peek into humans, into who we really are. Um, but I said to this amazing woman, I said, "What's your love yourself number?" I said, "I think you just created a new category. So what's your love yourself number? You've had a couple weeks to work on this, and you've gotten some amazing help, and your parents are so supportive." And she smiled and she goes, "Mr. Matt, I'm an 8. I'm an 8." I was like, gosh. I said, "You just created a new category." And so then I launched it to my CEOs that I
Ooh.
coach, and my and the leaders that I
What do they say?
coach,
4?
the women and the men. Well, one, because I set it up. I was like, I added a new category, and you ready? Here we go. Are you ready? They're like, yeah, send it. Let's go. I'm like, all right. Love yourself. And this one man in particular, he goes, and he smiled. He goes, "Matt, I know how to run a chainsaw.
Mm.
I know how to run multiple businesses, but I don't know if I know how to do that." And I knew right then, Alison, I was like, thank you, God.
Yeah,
This is huge.
it is.
And so then my next client, another guy, very, very successful in California, he struggled with this. And he challenged me last week. He said, "I'm going to challenge you, Matt. How do you love yourself? And how do you show that you love yourself to your boys?"
Mm.
And I was like, challenge accepted. And so I've been thinking about that. I've been working on it. And so I came up with something I'd like to share today. This is the first people I'm going to share it with.
I'm
Um,
excited.
but
Yeah.
I've been in loathing a lot of my life. Honestly, it was passed down to me.
Mm.
And I'll just say that what I believe is it was passed down to me to deal with or not deal with.
Yeah.
My grandfather, unfortunately, took his life when I was in high school with a shotgun in his garage where he made woodwork because he got upset and he wanted to talk to my grandma. My dad pretty much was an alcoholic, and he would take care of himself and then he would give up. He'd take care of himself and he'd give up, and he'd take care of himself and he'd give up. And then June 2020, he died of the Widowmaker heart attack.
Yeah.
My mom was a professional therapist, people, and she couldn't help him.
Yep.
Come on. Allison knows. She feels this deeply.
I do.
And it's so beautiful that we get to do this together right now, Allison and me. So
May
first
I ask you a question?
Go.
I know that you're going to go into this continuum.
Yep.
But I do have a question because I really don't know the answer. In the 12-step program, like it's just like a common funny thing that we all say, or that I'm an egomaniac with an inferiority complex. And I know that to be true about me. I think it's changing. I think that those two extremes have, kind of blended more together into like more of a better sense of self. But I do think, and I know that we can hold two different beliefs in our unconscious, self-hate and self-love. It's so odd. And they can oppose one another. So like, as an example, so let's say somebody, and we have a crisis in the dating world and like romance and love all over for whatever reason. I mean, I think I know the reason, but anyhow, so now people will say, I really, really want this, whatever it is. I really, really want this great relationship. But then there's this other part of them that says, I'm scared to death of a relationship. I believe that a relationship means I have no freedom. So they hold those two beliefs inside.
My gosh.
I want love, but I want freedom. And they oppose one another in belief. So what I'm curious about, because we're talking about this continuum of like self-loathing to self-love, and I'm going to study it. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to ask Dr. Joe Dispenza where does that fit when we're carrying, because like a double-minded man, it talks about in the Bible.
Actually, I can't wait to unpack this next part.
Okay, go. I'm going.
Are you sure?
Yes, okay. I'm talking a lot.
So this work that I've been doing with Gene early, I've been working with Gene since November. He is my teacher. He's my coach, and I am his teacher, and I am his coach.
Love it.
So it's a very interesting exchange. He is a doctor, which I didn't know that before. He is PhD. He brought NLP to Europe in the early 80s, and he is a strong man of faith. He's able to see you in a way that is very uncomfortable, to allow you to face and grow the way that we need to. Alison does that for us. I do that for my clients. Ed Milet does it for us.
Yes.
And what I do with Gene is he'll tell me what his framework is, and it's kind of like the matrix comes out of his mouth, and I have to go, okay, I got to put this together. Like, this does not make sense to anybody but Gene. So that's what I've done for him for the last year, and he teaches me how to go through all of these emotional things that Alison knows I've been through the last 2 or 3 years. All right. So this framework that I'm about to teach is a continued research framework for us, for Gene and I. Yesterday, I got more insight into one that was really, it wasn't simple. It wasn't simple enough for me to talk about, which is so crazy I'm talking about it today.
I've never been simple.
So Alison was wondering how come we have these two things that talk in our body, in our brain, in our soul, and our spirit. All right. So I'm going to make some things very clear from what I know from Gene, from the framework that he has created, and I am creating with him based on scripture, based on science, based on all kinds of things that he's done in 76 years. All right. And these are things that I've wrestled with, and I know that Alison, she just said she's wrestled with it, okay? So the first level of us is our body. It's our instrument, our temple, right? That's why we work out. It's why we eat healthy. This needs to function the best it possibly can. Okay. We all agree with that.
Yes.
That's level one. Level two is our ego. Level two is our ego and logic, and it gets choice. It gets to choose things of the world or things of spirit, things of the world or things of the unknown. All right. These two, everybody gets to work through. All right. The next level is soul. And when he said that at our October retreat last year, I was so confused because I'm like, wait a second, soul and spirit are the same thing. But when I explain it here in a second, Alison, finally I think I get it. Okay. All right. So the body, the ego, and then the soul, and then the spirit. When these four work together and the ego says yes, and the ego says yes to the body, hey, we're going to listen to spirit, then this is alignment. This is wholeness. Okay? So the soul is like communicator of God and the spirit, or the universal world, or whatever. The soul is like this entity in and outside of us that is communicating to our ego, hey, I think you should do this. And the ego's like, I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. And so in the session yesterday, I said to Gene, Gene, I know that you have a good understanding of how to listen to your soul and spirit. Could you tell me how you do that? And he said exactly what we would think. He finds stillness. He listens to music. He does soaking. He goes outside. He becomes still. And I was like, holy crap, here we go. I said, when does this show up the most for you? This is why I'm teaching him too. I'm coaching him. Because I asked these questions. He goes, right when I'm about to wake up in the morning, Matt.
Yes.
That's when I can get the most clear answers from spirit. And I was like, okay. So, Gene, can counterfeit identities like abuse and defense and anger, can they live in soul and spirit? He goes, oh no, not at all. So those are just ego and body. He goes, oh yeah. And then I got corrected because I was like, okay, so core identities only live in spirit and soul. He goes, no, they live in ego too, and in the body. When the soul and the ego agree to what the spirit wants. I was like, oh my gosh.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So I want to say that first.
Okay.
Because this is something that I'm continually trying to understand and work on. Yes. Okay. But self-love, and this is the challenge, there are 5 proofs. All right. Proof 1 is that we protect what God, the universe, created. This is the foundation. Loving yourself means you see yourself in the way God sees you, as a creation worth protecting, worth loving. Jesus begins with self-love in Mark 12:31. Love your neighbor as yourself. And we've said that so many times before, and it wasn't until the last 4 or 5 years that I really understood what Jesus was saying. Love your neighbor as yourself. You have to love yourself first. Facts. So that you can really love your neighbors.
Yes.
Obviously, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. So how do I live this? Because this is what I've been working on. And I think if I say how I've been living it, hopefully you are going to be able to say, you know what, I do that too. Or that's something that I need to do more of for myself. Yeah. So how I live this is my running streak. I've ran every day for the last 4,800, 900 plus days.
Forrest Gump.
Yeah, I stopped keeping track. It's like a 5K a day, literally for the last 6 years. I fast. I try to eat as clean as possible in my nutrition. I lift. I'm very disciplined in my routine and how I take care of myself. These are acts of stewardship. They're not worship of me. They're taking care of my body and my instrument to be ready to be able to help other people and shine my light, shine God's light the way I'm supposed to. All right. This is self-respect in action. All right. It's not like kind of helping yourself. And this is legitimately loving yourself, your body, the creation. Okay. Number two, proof two, tell yourself the truth, clarity without shame, honesty without brutality. I think that's so important. Honesty without abuse.
Yes.
Without abusing yourself, telling yourself, Matt, you really shouldn't eat those Lay's yellow bag chips, man. Like, you probably shouldn't. And I haven't drank at all this year. I've been doing 75 hard for the whole freaking year.
Awesome.
Matt, you probably shouldn't drink that big giant bottle of wine by yourself. Matt, today, I don't want to go lift. Are you being lazy, Matt? Yes, I'm being lazy. I better go lift. And so I did. And that's loving myself. It's keeping, like we hear Ed and Andy say all the time, keeping the promises to yourself, right?
That's it.
Tell yourself the truth. Admit when something hurts. Face your story. Stop hiding. Choose truth over denial. Proof three, you take aligned action, not just inspired action. Self-love isn't emotional, it's behavior. It's consistent alignment with who you say you want to be. Rick Rubin in The Creative Act says to hone your craft is to honor creation. All right? So we live this. Alison lives this. She's so dedicated to herself. She, it's aligned for her to work out, to take care of herself, to do this work, to go talk to Joe Dispenza, to I am wholeness, I am love. Like, that's aligned action. That's not just inspired, because I want to go do Wim Hof and meditate right now. That's aligned to my soul and who I actually am. My spirit says, yes, you should go do that, Matt. You should go burn that incense. You should go write that song. That's aligned action. That's not inspired.
Right.
My lifting, my fasting, my writing, my coaching, these are not chores. I love helping people. I love doing these Zoom calls and helping my clients.
Yes. Can I just say something about that?
Yeah.
You and I would not love the service and the acts of love if we were not filled up and loved ourselves.
Amen.
Then it's just draining.
Yep.
True love comes from that. Yep.
Proof four, you heal fast instead of carrying hurt long. You don't hold grudges. You don't, live from wounds. You turn pain into wisdom instead of identity. And I want to say this. That's what I teach my clients every single day.
Yes.
Is that pain that you went through, that's your freedom.
It is.
That is the freedom for your story to get out into light, because when you share it in light, like Alison did with her reel, then it's out of the darkness into light.
Yes.
And then it's transformed in the renewal, just like you said at the beginning of the podcast.
Yes.
Forgiveness is freedom.
It is.
I can't say I completely have learned this as well as I should yet. But we should not keep resentment.
Yes.
We should reframe as quick as possible. So, an example I have is, like, on my run, sometimes a bug will get in my mouth and my throat. And so this happened one day, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's abundance. God gave me some sustenance right now. That's what it is, right? I forgive very quickly, and you move energy instead of storing it. So instead of sitting in the pain.
Mm.
Like Allison told you, you talk to shame.
Hmm.
You're like, hey, what? Shame, what are you talking about? Like, get out of here. That's not it. That's not what we want to talk about. Um, so proof 4 is to try to heal fast instead of carrying the hurt so long.
Mm.
Like, get help, right? Proof 5, love others from overflow, not emptiness, which is what
Yes.
we were just talking about.
Mm.
Um, love others as yourself. The book that Allison told me to read, The Alchemist, I think you told me to read that. The
The
four,
ACA book,
yeah,
the
yeah,
four
yeah,
agreements,
yeah,
the
yeah.
ACA, the adult children of alcoholics.
When we strive to become better, everything around us becomes better too.
Mm-hmm.
So, in every, because I did a deep dive on the sacred text also, right?
Mm.
And I wanted to find out self-love, like what's common across the board in every single religious text, all right? Every sacred scripture, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, Taoist, and every timeless self-help work, Mendino, Frankel, Rubin, Peck, Kallio, Singer, Brown, all say the same thing in different language. Self-love is not selfish. It is alignment with the divine. It is honoring the body of God made, the breath he put in you, the story you carry, the truth you're responsible for. I love that line.
Yes.
The gifts you steward, and the soul you're meant to protect. When you love yourself, you live as the person God designed. And only from that place can you love others cleanly, powerfully, and fully. Self-love is not indulgence. It is alignment with God's original design in you. Every sacred text teaches this truth in its own language. You were created with dignity, shaped. This is so good right here.
It is.
You were created with dignity, with poise,
Yes.
shaped with intention, and called to honor the divine life within you. To love yourself is to protect what God created. Tell yourself the truth. Act in alignment with your highest identity. Heal instead of store hurt. And love others from overflow rather than emptiness. When you live from this place, every relationship, every purpose, and every breath becomes an act of worship, strength, and freedom. If I only had one sentence to describe it, self-love is honoring the man or woman God created you to be by protecting your body, telling yourself the truth, acting in alignment with your highest identity, and giving love to others from a place of overflow instead of emptiness.
So good. So good. Yes. I love that. And what would you say to the person who does not believe that anyone loves them? They are completely self-loathing, and they believe that they're such a burden that the world and themselves would be better off without them. Now, that is a highly challenging question, so you can take a moment, because it's a tough one.
This is my favorite time of the year.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the poster right now, and it's Frank Capra's It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes. Oh my God.
And if you are a person that thinks you're alone, that thinks you don't matter, I watched that movie probably 10 to 20 times from now until January.
You're killing me right now.
And the reason why is
Yeah.
because it is the perfect example of what life would be like without you
Yes.
and how many people you touch and you don't even know it.
Yes.
And I've had multiple people in my life come in the most remarkable time in my life and ask me a question. One of those questions was Bob Tessman my junior year when my girlfriend Kylie broke up with me. And he said this question, Matt, what do you love more than anything in the whole world? I said, Kylie. And he said, no. He goes, "What do you love for real? Like that that no one knows about you." I said, "I like to help people. I like to see people light up, and I like to sing a little bit." And he enrolled me in choir for next semester, and this was middle of my junior year. If he didn't ask me that question, I would not be here with you today.
I know. Incredible.
So that's one person that asked me one question
Yes.
that took 1 minute.
Yes.
So you are here in this time and space as a beautiful creation, that there is only one of you, that there will ever only be one of you for eternity of time. I think that's pretty special.
It is. Yeah. The interesting piggyback thing about it's very moving what you're saying because, and I'm going to tell you, like every time we speak, there's so much synchronicity because I think we're so aligned spiritually and all of that. But and this is my vulnerable moment, is
Oh,
that
yay.
you love when I get vulnerable, but
Hmm.
it's when my 6 weeks prior to my best friend husband's uh, death by suicide, um, I was watching a takeover of his mind. And the takeover of his mind was just simply, purely just lies that he was hearing in his mind and thinking that just took over. And one of the things I remember early before this, I had said I was certain because he knew movies and what he was like into like old movies. And I said, "Have you ever seen It's a Wonderful Life?" And amazingly, he hadn't, which was so surprising to me because he was just not the type to have not seen that movie. So I sat and I remember like toward when things were really like he was not doing well, I remember thinking, I should tell him to watch It's a Wonderful Life.
Mm.
He kept thinking like that I didn't love him, and I did.
Oh
Like
my
all these things, he was
gosh.
like believing that he just was not, he couldn't hear the truth. So I was like, and you know what? I didn't say it. At least I don't
Mm.
remember saying it. And he didn't
Did he
see
watch it?
what? Did
Did he
he?
watch it?
No. I've thought often, many, many times, if he watched it, maybe this would not have happened. So,
This is
this
so
is,
bizarre.
I know. So, because it is, it's an incredible movie about what we really do not realize that what our absence means. Like I've said so many times, like in the Bible, it talks about like Abel, when Abel died, that his silence screamed. And I felt like my husband's silence screams, in my life. And
Wow. Oh my
it's
gosh.
like, and if you look at It's a Wonderful Life, like his, his silence was screaming everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, I mean,
I,
that's
I
so,
love that movie because it's the most real adaptation of, I think, the human experience.
yeah,
I think we all go through it, every single
yes,
one of us. I think
yes,
that the few like you and me, we're very few that actually talk about it.
yeah. And that's why it's so important. Like, I just speak to anyone out there who, is thinking of death or thinking of that the only solution is to not be here anymore. The main thing is really to understand that our pain and our life, they're not the same thing. So if we're in pain, we just need to separate. Do you want your body to die or do you want your pain to end?
Mm,
That is helpful. And I know that in terms of time right now, because I mentioned about being punctual and all of
yeah.
that I want to be respectful of your time,
Mm.
Matthew. And we could talk forever.
Yeah, we could. I mean, honestly, we could do a series on this. I wouldn't mind doing that.
So I just want to thank you, Matt, so much for being here. All of your
Yeah.
information will be on the in the show notes. And I just encourage people to reach out and utilize Matt as much as you can. And thank you so much. It's a wrap.
Utilize Allison too.